why I really was excited to come on here, not only to get to know you better, but I want to share those secrets.
The stories and the life experiences that lead up to that point. You know, I look back now and I remember my dad saying that God will always position you for what's right for you.
My dad left when I was 5, 6 kids, single mom. And he was a deadbeat dad who made money, didn't pay child support, but never said a word about it. Women weren't allowed to have credit. You couldn't apply for a credit card in 1976. If I just get anxious or worried or, perceive someone attacking me or just something that's stuck in my quantum being, I'll just say, I am worthy, right? I am whatever to counter it.
Completely interrupts
And I could barely remember what I was saying in my head.
That's what I love about, a lot of the content and topics that you talk about is because I'm one of those dudes that I want something that's just a real life application. Tell me this and I'll go do that.
I could tell.
You know?
You and I are on the same frequency.
Right. And that's why I feel so connected when I listen to some of your things. Have you heard of the ThinkUp app?
No.
So this is a game changer. It was probably top 3 pieces of technology I implemented in 2023 that changed my life for sure. Calendly was another one.
Yeah.
I live and die by Calendly processes now, but ThinkUp will allow you to record in a voice memo your affirmations. I kind of wrote them all out and knew what some of them were. It'll take the voice memo, and then you can go ahead and put music to the background. It's like soft, good, all different types of music. Then you could set the reminder what time the alarm goes off. So mine goes off at 5:30 and at 9 p.m. And it goes through and it's I will, my energy is my superpower. I will use it wisely.
Yeah.
Do
you send it to people and post it?
Sometimes I'll share. I mean, they're pretty vulnerable. Some of them are, about my faith.
But I could.
Right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, you can share with people too and motivate, but it's called ThinkUp. And what I like is it allows you to go from that. Here's the idea. Now here's how you're going to do it every day.
I love it. Nick, can you download ThinkUp?
Super cool.
Very, very cool.
ThinkUp app.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've had
one of my things do it now.
Yeah.
I know you're a do it now guy.
Yeah.
Because 100% of the things you do now get done. If I don't tell him right now to download the ThinkUp app, I have a 50% chance of ever doing anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we get involved in the conversation, we rush off to the next conversation. Yeah. I'm screwed.
So when you talk about six people.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Eli, you good? You love. Yeah.
You're getting all this, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's the best podcast.
Yeah.
So when you,
I fooled you guys.
Yeah. Let's roll, baby.
Okay, good.
Is that you, Dave, right there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's your video. All right, just want to make sure the right guy's up there. I got a little PTSD after yesterday, after things popping up on my Zoom screen.
Right. We're unhackable.
Well, what I didn't tell you was we got the person with the audio off. We found him and we removed him.
Oh, no.
5 seconds later, this giant black guy shows up on the screen, totally naked.
So you have
in the middle of the screen.
God,
78 people, Dave. And I was just but I was like, okay, how are you going to show up? I heard this is happening for me, not to me. And I was like, people are watching. And I was like, well, that's
through you.
Yeah, right.
The next level, baby.
Yeah, that's good. But I will. That'll be a keynote speech here soon.
Yeah.
I love that.
We don't really have a huge intro to the Hope Dealer.
Okay.
We've had to beat sponsors off with a stick. We're starting a list. We're going to talk about that, a little bit later.
Good.
But basically, Dave, we created this because, when we've been talking to people, we realize that everybody's got a story that they're not telling out there. But also the second part that Nick, explained so clearly is that a lot of people don't know where a platform is that they could go and share that, right? And, a lot of us, we know a lot of great people out there and well-known people, but also there's so many people that have that story that are celebrity. They should be a hero in their own realm.
Mm-hmm.
And we want the Hope Dealer to be maybe even sometimes that first time somebody stepped on or their 1,000th time they step on. But on the Hope Dealer podcast, maybe hopefully unlock something that's a little different that they didn't do before or never had an opportunity to do. So really the only thing we ask for when people come on is we want deep vulnerability, authenticity. We want the real raw stuff, and that's how people are going to learn. And so that's basically...
Don't ask me anything, guys, so you're going to get who I am. I've spent too much time trying to worry about what people think I am or what I want them to think I am, so you're going to get I am.
That's awesome. Well, we're super honored to have you here. If you guys don't know David, you need to be following him, David Meltzer. We'll make sure to put all the info below. I was introduced to him by this kind gentleman, and he's been in your life for quite a while. Dave's got an incredible story. Tell us a little bit about Dave and your relationship with him.
Yeah. Well, how Dave and I met, it was, one of those things where I say I couldn't have strategized my way to find a relationship with Dave or to meet you. I just remember I was on Guestio looking to find someone who could come speak to a mastermind that I had. And I stumbled across Dave, and then I was like, oh yeah, Dave, oh, this is perfect. Like, cause I didn't have an access point, right? And you talk a lot about access, and that's a big thing of being accessible and available. And so I spot him on there. So I sent him a thing, and I'm like, hey, I'd love for you to come, like just for 5 to 10 minutes. If you could just come spend some time, it'd be super meaningful. And we had some mutual connections. And so I paid through this thing and whatever. And so then I send it, and then Dave gets it and he refunds it. And he says, email me, david@dmeltzer.com. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do exactly what he said. Okay, so then I pull the email. Hey, this is Nick. You know, I sent you the thing, and then you like send it back, and then, you know, what do you think? Like, can we make it happen? And he's like, just tell me the day and time. I'll be there. And I'm like, okay, this is like blowing my mind, right? And you know, the stories and the life experiences that lead up to that point. You know, I look back now and I remember, you know, my dad saying that God will always position you for what's right for you. He'll put the people in your life and the things in your life. And I think I was just in that effortless ease of life. And that's how we stumbled into each other. But Dave's generosity showed me his character from day one. And that's never changed. Yeah. You know, he's been a cheerleader, been a confidant. The amount of early morning conversations, late night conversations, the weekend conversations that just pick up the phone and call Dave and he answers. And I'm like, listen, bro, going through a lot. I mean, you know my story, things I've been through in the last year or two. And Dave has just been a consistent pillar of somebody who's invested in my life, believed in me, given me opportunity, you know, allowed me to hiccup and kind of face plant in front of him at times, you know, and he's very gracious in that. And also celebrating me, giving me opportunity that, you know, I could never ask for. I mean, it's just been amazing, dude. So that's a real mentor.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. There's a saying, I use it today. I do meetups in every city so I can learn what people are listening for. And I talked about probably the best I've ever articulated, at least, that why we have to enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of our potential. And for me, one of the missions I have is to empower others to empower others.
Yeah.
It gives me the exponentiality of building a community of people that want to help each other and know people that can help each other. And the farther down the journey, I think about my favorite interview at the Super Bowl, which wasn't with a Super Bowl football player or anyone. It was with Bob Parsons in Arizona, the CEO founder of GoDaddy.
Yeah.
Who exited for $4 billion.
Wow.
And so when I hear how people perceive me, which, you know, people always think too highly at times of you and too lowly at times of you. And sometimes they're right on. But I was sitting there and Bob Parsons said to me, you know, son, if you learn to love what you do, and you can see on the video, my eyes rolled to the back of my head like, here it comes. I've heard this a million times. Like, you're Bob Parsons. Don't give me wait, I want to get to the deep stuff like you, right? And he was pretty vulnerable with me. He talked about PTSD from being a Vietnam vet. He talked about how he's an asshole until he did ayahuasca, like all these cool things, right? So I wasn't expecting him to be like in the big clothes, you know, if you love what you do, you'll never work another. But no, he kept on going. He said, if you love what you do and you can learn to love what you don't like, and you can learn to love what you don't love, and you can learn to love what other people don't like, and you can learn to love what other people don't like and love, and you do it consistently every day, and you do it without quit, and you do it in the pursuit of what you want, not what other people think, because that's none of your business, he said. What other people think, he said, it will tell you all its secrets. And so when I hear the journey of our relationship, and I have to be candid, right? I have a lot of relationships. I don't remember all of those things, but I love hearing people's perception of our journey together because it's aligned with my mission. You know, it's really the secrets. And why I really was excited to come on here, not only to get to know you better, but I want to share those secrets. Yeah. I want to share, you don't live your life at dis-ease. And whether you reached out on Instagram, email, in person, or whatever, that idea of we all are here to help one another and to know people that help one another. And all we need is the thing that started the story that has made the difference in my life, an open mind. You see, too many people today don't understand the total addressable community. You're starting your podcast. Your total addressable community now is the same as mine. If you were on a radio show back when I used to do radio, that wasn't true. Right? When I did a radio show on Angels Radio or Gal Media, the only addressable market were the people that were subscribing or listening to that channel.
Right.
But today, this podcast and my podcast, where I have over 1,700 episodes and millions of downloads, has the same total addressable community as you. If we deal with open minds of people who want to help each other and know people that can help each other. Because those are people that will buy from you, not just your product, service, solutions, but also your ideas, your energy, your mission, your inspiration. They'll buy that from you and they'll sell it for you to 7.6 billion people. No matter where you are and where you're starting or in that journey. And so to understand how much time so many people spend with closed minds, why? Why? You have the same total address. I understand it when you lived in Knox, Indiana, and you put up, around the courthouse, they have the diner, the doctor, the lawyer, the dentist. I understand why you would try to convince a closed mind to use your service, product, solution, or listen to your idea, because the total addressable community is only people driving around the center of town. Now our center of town, 7.6 billion people. So I want to encourage people to take what resonates with me in that journey. The most important thing I did was to be of service and of value, to be accessible and have an open mind to say, hey man, tell me why you want me to come for 5 or 10 minutes. And if it resonates with me, but if it's not, I don't stop there. I say to myself, who's more capable than me? Who has the time to help? So I create buckets of people, of free things, of group things, of paid for intimate things, of advisory. I advise some of the biggest company chairmen in the world. The same as I provided today, 19-year-old kid that was willing to meet for an hour in front of the hotel. I give the same advice. One, I charge 7 figures, the other's for free. Wow. And that's because the guy that is the chairman of, Gulf Oil makes more money off of my ideas, and I provide him value to exceed what I'm asking for.
That's fair.
And it's someone that's a 19-year-old, I'm still providing value exceeding what I'm asking for, which is 0, because when he's the chairman of Gulf Oil, who do you think the first person he's going to help?
And that's true. Like, that's what's wild about that is I asked for 5 to 10 minutes and he showed up for an hour to like an hour and 15 minutes. And so in that addition, the multiplier of value, he's like, no, it's good. I'm here. Let's do it. And I was just like, what is happening? Like, what is happening?
Where'd that come from? Like, where do you remember that being first kind of bred and grown?
It's an evolution. And part of it I spoke about recently. It's the biggest epiphany of my life.
Yeah.
And it actually really came to fruition because of my childhood, because I adore my mom. I can barely talk about my mom without choking up, as I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
My mom did everything for me. 6 kids, single mom, and my siblings and I, we were so blessed, but she gave everything to everyone. I talk about not just giving to your kids, because most people do give everything to their kids, but to the Sunday schoolers, the second graders. She packed my dinner and filled up turnstiles at convenience stores with greeting cards just so we could eat.
Wow.
She, one thing I found out recently, my mom's 80.
Wow, okay.
And she needs help, financial help, medical help. She's doing well, but not as well as she could have been doing if she didn't give everything. And I'll explain that. But she, I couldn't understand as she was 80, how I was taught by her, and I believe this, that everything that you give, if you give, you'll receive more. The more you give, the more you receive. And I used to ask my mom why, and I found out this thing that sparked it. She said, do you know when I first started, my dad, her husband, left when I was 5, 6 kids, single mom.
Okay.
And he was a deadbeat dad who made money, didn't pay child support, but never said a word about it. And she said, the thing that amazed me when I was single, I tried to get a credit card in 1976. Women weren't allowed to have credit. You couldn't apply for a credit card in 1976. And she said, so I fought. So your kids, the 3 daughters that I have, can have a credit card.
Wow.
And so I'm thinking, once again, where's my faith? I don't understand, because I really know that the more I give, the more I receive. Why do I receive so much for when I give and my mom didn't? Because she's a better person than me.
Right.
She gave more than me.
Right.
And then I came up with this wonderful thing that I'm able to articulate. And I told my mom, and she started to cry because she said, I can't believe I'm in this place where I need you to help me. This is not what I wanted. And I said, Mom, my whole dream was to be able to take care of you. I wanted to be rich.
Right.
So that I could buy you a house and a car. Now you're living in Encinitas, California, in a gorgeous assisted living with all the same nice Jewish ladies that are like you, and you eat the highest quality food, and you have your own apartment, like all the things I can afford. She goes, yeah, but it makes me feel bad. And I said, oh, wait a second. Now I know the difference. My mom gave 100% of everything she had.
Yeah.
And the Bible and all the theories and philosophies and science that I said, it doesn't say the more you give, the more you receive. What it says is the more you give, the more you're given. And what I learned to do was raise my awareness by gratitude and forgiveness and accountability to raise my awareness what I'm given. We walk by it every day. We deny it every day. We don't receive what we're given.
Wow.
So if you change this mindset, and I was telling my Mom, if you just would have, when you had 100% and gave 100% away, when you were offered 102% back or even 100% back, if you wouldn't have felt bad, you would have received it.
Yeah.
And then you would have said, because you don't feel that, God, the omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing, more than enough of everything, infinite, abundant, unified system of God, give me even more because you feel worthy of it because you're going to give 100% of what you have. Wow. So instead of going from 100% and only taking back because you feel bad 99% of what you gave, and now 100% is 99% of what you had, and then going to 98, 97, 96, and it took your life, but at 80, I have to be honest, Mom, you're at 0. You don't have anything that you could give because you gave it all away. Your health, your wealth, your happiness, all these things, because you don't want to receive. And it's not too late, Mom.
Nice.
So receive.
Wow.
This is a payback.
That's freaking amazing.
And so I teach people,
wow,
let's raise our awareness to what we're given. Let's receive all that we're given. And then even put a confirmation on God and more than enough of everything and ask for even more than we're given, so that your life, you have 100%, then 101, 102, 103, 104. So when you die, 100% is more than enough of everything for everyone because you ain't taking it with you when you're gone.
That's right. That's right. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So your mother was the original hope dealer in your life. That's where you saw it. And that's why.
Still is.
And that's why I'm so connected with you. So I told you I lost my father when I was 6 to suicide, and I was raised by a single mom. He was Jewish. My whole side of my dad's family came over to Brooklyn, lived in Brooklyn.
Half Jewish?
Half Jewish.
Can I tell a joke? One of my favorite?
Yeah, go for it.
Don't listen, Mom. But it's one of my favorite. When anyone tells you they're half Jewish, say, I hope it's from the eyebrows up.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Oh, that's brilliant. That's
same reason I bought a Ferrari.
Yeah. There you go.
Man.
Sorry.
I gotta remember that.
That's great.
So life was just, difficult growing up, but my mom was the same way, like a hero, and she's now 65 years old, and, she doesn't have anything. And, it was on my bucket list to get her first house. So we bought her first house 6 years ago. And we're standing on the front doorstep, and I put my arm around her. I said, honey, I'm home. And so that's why we have honey, I'm home in neon on that, wall back there. But I so relate to you because but you're a little bit ahead of me on that journey. And I'm like thinking about these things where it's like, I'm going to have to take care of my mom. Like this will be something that will be happening.
Yeah.
And what that next phase is. And I look and I'm the same thing, like her health, her wealth, her everything she gave to everybody else when she had so little. So that's why you do what you do. And I get that now. What do you, so how's that journey going with her right now, trying to get her to maybe adapt and receive a little bit more? How are you going to do that?
Yeah. So I have a template. You and I are so similar, bro, because we're going to implement and execute and put a framework around it.
Yeah.
Even though we run at the highest frequency in spirituality as anyone I know. And so I started looking at like, how can I put a framework around this to help people? And so it starts with value, to identify value, because you're going to give value to receive more value. Yeah. It doesn't just have to be money, right? Money's an energy, but it could be
time.
It could be ideas, whatever, right? Time. So, because my mom does have that still.
Right.
And we can start moving it towards the more than enough. And so I put a framework around value, and I said, what is value and how can we give and receive value? And I identified through doing research and putting my attention and intention that there's only 2 ways to provide value.
Okay.
Give people more of what they like or take away some, if not all of what they don't like. That's literally the only way you can provide value, right? If you don't like money, it's not of any, like I use this Ferrari example. Have you ever seen the guy that has that car that he's in love with more than his children?
Oh, yeah.
And like literally, I've met these guys. I'm like, dude, I'll give you $1 million for that Lambo. Oh no, I love this.
Or their newsfeed is all pictures of them in their car, and it's like, where's their kid?
Right, exactly. But because he loves the car more than he loves money, but give him more of what he likes. And so coming from the understanding of value, that my job is to give you more of what you like and take away what you don't like.
Yeah.
So then I use this philosophy that my oldest brother taught me, be more interested than interesting. And it's a great sales tip too, by the way.
Yeah.
So I have an open-minded, open-ended question guide. And I start with open-minded because everyone has an open mind at a certain time. Everyone. In fact, I believe that the greatest luck you can have or timing or coincidence you can have is someone who has a closed mind the majority of the time to be able to find them when they have an open mind. Because the problem with us three is we have an open mind most of the time, if not all.
Yeah.
So when someone asks us something, we have so many options, we can't get to it every day.
Right.
But if you get a dude that has a closed mind most of the time, you're his only option. And he has an open mind. And if you ask the right open-ended questions, he'll say yes and do it immediately because there's no other options. And so it's an easier sale or an easier share in that respect. So what I do is I teach you how to find an open mind who always has an open heart and open hands at that time.
Okay.
Gaining statistical success and sharing and managing and developing a vision. And then I ask open-ended questions to find out what you like and what you don't like. Because when I can find out what you like and what you don't like, there's this great question I ask. Would it help you if? And they say yes. Because why? I'm asking, would it help you if I give you more of what you like? Or I ask you, will it help you if I take away some of what you don't like? And every open mind, open heart, and open hand is going to say, yeah, that would help me. And when we do that, now we create community members because I can ask you, hey, do you know anyone that can help me? Now, I haven't asked you to help me.
Right.
But an open mind, open heart, and open hand is going to try their best to fill themselves that. And at the very least, they're going to say, my uncle's dog walker, his aunt, is a billionaire. And I think they may be interested in funding you. And believe it or not, I have funded deals, big deals, 60 million, over $100 million deals because of my aunt's dog walker's cousin is a billionaire.
Yeah.
And I remember her telling me that he loves, touch up, like whatever.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's a community of people that want to help each other and know people help each other, that buy from you and sell for you for life. Nothing will make you more successful in your product, brand, service, solution, or ideas, mission than a community of those type of people.
This framework, can it be applied like by self? And to lead up to that question, like, we talk to a lot of people that they've been set back. They got their legs kicked out from them.
Well, they're human.
Yeah, they're human, right? And sometimes people, like, we have some friends, like sometimes their lumps just have really come, repeatedly in a row. Can they apply that same framework themselves in a way? Like what do you think is the key to helping someone really say, hey, you know what? I got to dig myself out of this hole. Here's what my hope is. Here's what my motivation is.
So actually that framework is the exact first step of doing that, because that framework allows you to know what you want personally, experientially, giving and receiving. And see, most people live...
They name it and claim it.
Exactly. So most people live in the world of nothingness. Excuse my gestures, but I believe this to be true. They are tubes.
Yeah.
Food in, food out. That's their whole day.
Yeah.
And so when you know what you want through this framework of having an open mind to what I want and an open heart, open hands, and asking myself today, what do I like and what don't I? Where can I provide myself value in a trajectory of where I think I want to be? Then I seek the meaning from the lessons. So the pain, setbacks, failures, and mistakes become indicators to the lesson that I need to learn in order to effectuate the acceleration, aggregation, and compounding of results that I do want in my life, not the results I don't want that are causing pain, to indicate that I have a better place to be. And so that framework allows me to know what, then I can move to who. So that possibility of what becomes a probability with who could I help? Because the fastest way to get to where you want to be is to help someone get to where they want to be,
Right.
and find someone like you guys to give me directions where you are. So if I want to know about mortgages, I don't need to pay the dummy tax. I promise you that in your 2 decades of dealing with mortgages, that you have paid more dummy tax than I'll ever make in mortgages.
Yeah.
So why would I not ask you for help? But I know there's certain areas like podcasting
Right.
that I, over 1,700 episodes of one podcast, 4,000 interviews in total, that I have paid more dummy tax. Why should you pay the millions of dollars of dummy tax that I've paid? Why should I pay the millions of dollars of dummy tax?
Right.
We could swap. Now we're up 4 million before we start.
Well, you're best equipped to teach others, the things that we've been through. And it's a gift you can give to people. And I think it's selfish to be like, well, I went through that and got kicked in the face and lost, $50,000. Maybe I should go share that with other people.
That's why
We're
we're here.
in a society where it's like, oh, don't tell anybody. I don't want anybody to find out.
Because they're less than. They're not enough. They're in the world of scarcity. And when I liberated myself by telling the truth about myself, about being abused, about being, overseller, back-end seller, liar, manipulator, and cheater in my life, of only caring about money, of pretending to give without expecting to receive. There's so many, going bankrupt, of losing over $100 million.
Yeah.
All the abuse I did to myself, the self-sabotage. These are the conversations. I've met with guys. One of my favorite, he flew in, met me at the Ritz-Carlton, private jet, flew in, took care of me and my wife. And he goes through his entire bio of success. Grew up with 12 kids, went to Harvard, made his first million, then his 100th. And I'm sitting there going, wow, this is the most unrealistic journey I've ever heard. So he said, how about you, Dave? I said, well, I really grew up in an effed up situation, and I effed up this and I effed up that, and made my first million when I was 9 months out of law school. And then 3 years later had a huge exit. But, I was surrounding myself with the wrong people, the wrong ideas, doing drugs and alcohol, going to strip clubs, doing dumb stuff, and almost got divorced. And thank God I married the right woman, and that she showed me the way and lighted the way. And I then got the blessing of losing over $100 million, having to tell my mom I was bankrupt and tell her she lost her house because I didn't take my name off of the title, which is ironic, by the way, because the only reson I wanted to be rich was to buy her the goddamn house in the first place.
He's the labyrinth.
Right.
The
And
labyrinth,
then, what does he do? Oh, well, I've had a lot of struggles too. I've made huge mistakes, right?
Level it out. Yeah. Real
I
quick.
love that.
That honesty comes, man. It's contagious. It's
It is.
huge.
I'm sorry. I got so many questions.
Go ahead.
I'm
You're-
I get
dude,
ready
you
to
run,
Dave.
man.
I want to ask him some
Yeah.
questions. So you said a moment ago there was, that time that you realized and acknowledged, some of those dark places in some were aware of and some were not.
Correct.
I went on a big personal journey last year after getting a chance to talk with Cody Sperber. And he went out to a place in Arizona and told me, and I started thinking, I was like, these are some of your problems. This is why you have addictions, why you get angry, why, you get manic. And similar thing, I just grew up with a lot of crazy stuff, but a lot of it you're not even aware of. I'm so glad I had a catalyst, and this isn't about me, that went into that journey. What was your catalyst?
Yeah.
That was that moment that you said, okay, this is going to be different. This is where I'm going to figure out what in the hell, why I think the way I think. What was that?
2 years before I lost everything was my catalyst.
Okay.
And I had a few red flags. I hated my dad because he told me at 30, when I was on top of the world, that I was lost. And he gave me a jacket for my birthday with no pockets and told me I was just like him, that I thought money would buy me love and happiness, and that I should hang the jacket in the closet every day to remind me money doesn't mean anything. And I told him at that time, you think you're better than me? You're the liar, the cheater, the manipulator, overseller, back-end seller. I hate you. You're the one that's effed up. 6 years later, it then became my mom telling me I was lost. And I told her I didn't believe in God. And she told me I believed in the wrong God.
Yeah.
Told her I hated her, that, she was lost. She had nothing. I go, you made $17,000 a year. You wouldn't believe what they pay me to step on a stage for an hour. This is where my ego was.
Mm-hmm.
Then my best friend right after tells me he's not going to the Masters with me, private jet, Gretzky, Moon, all these back cabins with Curtis Strange because he didn't like who I was anymore and who I hung out with. Told him I hated you. And he said, you can lie to me and everybody else, bro, but I've known you since the 4th grade. I was the guy that asked your wife to go steady with you in the 6th grade when she said no. I've been the guy with you your whole life. I'm the one telling you the truth. All these other people, they're using you. I love you, and you're in a bad place, and I'm not going to hang out with you because you're going to end up dead. 2 weeks after that, my wife, I lied to. I went to the Grammy Awards with a rapper named Little John. My wife told me not to, told me to spend time with the family, pay attention to like all the things. She said I was partying way too much. And of course, I lied, said I had a business meeting, but came home at 5:30 in the morning once again in bad shape. She was waiting for me, and she said, I'm leaving. Wow. I said, what? I'm not happy. I remember looking at her and say, are you kidding me? You have no gratitude at all. I put my arms up. Look around you. Who do you think did all of this for you? F you. I get the out. Went to bed, woke up. I hated my mom. I hated my dad.
Right.
I hated my best friend. And now I hated my wife. And my wife told me before I went to bed, let me just tell you this. I will be gone, but you better take stock in who you were and what you are becoming, or you're going to end up dead. And I'm not going to have your 3 daughters who were under 10 at the time be around to witness this. You're going to end up dead.
Wow.
I hated her. I sat there on my bed, and the universe again, I look over, and sitting there in my closet, I hadn't seen it in years, but there was only one jacket hanging in my closet, in my sight.
Jeez.
That jacket. And I broke down. Still can barely get through the story because I looked at that jacket and I realized at that moment, I do not hate my dad. And then I said, I don't hate my mom, and I don't hate my best friend, and I certainly don't hate my wife. There's a common denominator here. That's the problem.
You hate yourself.
I hated myself. I was a liar, a cheater, a manipulator, overseller, back-end seller, and I better take stock in who I was.
You were your own biggest disappointment.
Yeah, I found out today, you know what I was? I was a human doing, not a human being.
Right.
And I was being something I didn't want to do by doing the things I didn't want to do to become the thing I didn't want to become. And the only people that cared enough about me was my dad, my mom, my best friend, and my wife. Everybody else didn't care what I was doing or becoming. And the human being was that exactly thing that I hated most. And so I went on a journey and took stock in who I was, gratitude. I had a different perspective, forgiveness, created ease, accountability, gave me control and to learn the lessons to get better, to become, and what I was being. And then that led me to faith, to shift the paradigm of faith from I want everyone to think I am this to I am this. I am happy. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am worthy. And I'm going to stop interfering with it. And I'm going to listen and learn because God is good. Yeah. Unified, abundant, infinite source of omniscient, all-powerful, unbelievable protection, promotion, and love more than my mom. I simplified it to everyone. They're like, so what do you believe, bro? And I was like, I don't care what religion. You put what, I always say labels are for shampoo. Label it for religion, spirituality, theory, or philosophy. But I just challenge you because what I believe in is best option faith. There's something bigger than me that loves me more than my mom. Well, you think of anything better? If your God is that, good for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
That's a great way to keep people's hearts open and their minds open. I tell people I'm screwed up. I just tell them I'm a Roman Catholic and Jewish. But here's what I believe.
A lot of guilt, bro.
That's right. Dave, I really appreciate you just, willing to open up about that part. I mean, we could sit here and talk about business and, all of this, and leading people and companies. But I think the big thing that, makes you so special that you're dialed in is, those stories about you and why you do what you do, because they come from the most authentic, real place. And the person that you are sitting here, I can now honestly say is the same exact person that you've always been on camera.
Thank you.
And if people can really, really listen in to that and hear that moment, that catalyst, because we all have the catalyst opportunities, but the tragedies are when people don't grab them. So maybe hopefully today, like you gave a little bit of hope to some people that say something's going to be different about this situation now.
Remember, it's progress, not perfection. That I use time's my love language as a dependent variable.
Yeah.
So I'm human.
Yeah.
I make mistakes still today, right? I still do things that I'm not proud of, but I just spend minutes and moments in it, not days, weeks, months, and years. And when I identify my reaction to fear now, I just stop and I breathe and I remember and recollect God, source, whatever you want to call it. And then I get right back on the right path. And I'll tell you, the right path is faith and wisdom. There's a distance between your behavior and the outcomes, results that you want, consequences coinciding, whatever you say, karma and luck.
Mm-hmm.
So this distance can be shortened. It's a distance of resistance between you, what you want and what you're going to get. And there's only two things that it takes to reduce the distance of resistance: wisdom. And the way we receive wisdom is surround yourself with the right people, the right ideas, and ask for help, and faith. The highway of faith, it'll allow things to come to you faster, bigger, and better than you ever imagined. The highway of what other people want for you, what's missing, and what you don't have will never get you there or better.
Ooh, there it is right there. That's stealing hope. That's Hebrews 11:1. Have faith in the things you can see and the things you cannot see.
11:1. My birthday 111, born at 111. There are
my
no
favorite Bible verse. So.
Yeah.
Repeat it for me again, because I'm going to put it on my wall.
Well, it's, the Shawn Kaplan version.
Yeah.
Having faith in the things that you see and the things you do not see.
Mm.
So in other words, everything's happening for a reason. It's happening for you, not to you. That's
Right.
Hebrews 11.
I say it's through you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go.
I was in the Negev in the middle of the desert in Israel and, having an angry moment, back to like similar to what you were having in your life. And, God came down and touched me and I had a very special moment, but that'll be a whole nother story. Another
I love
time.
that.
Do that.
We have to have more
Podcast episode
conversation.
number 2.
That is episode. Right.
Thanks
Thanks for coming here, Dave.
Appreciate
So,
it.
hey,
Thank you.
I'm
so
Shawn
much. I'm Nick.
and this is the Hope Dealer Podcast. See y'all. Wrap.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Dave.
So beautiful.
That was a really good interview, guys.
Oh, yeah, that was
What
bomb.
was it?
Yeah.
Give us some feedback. I mean,
Yeah. Well, one thing you did well is put the cameras on before and keep them going.